Hello humans, it's just Martine, and today we're going to be talking through my TBR for the Heartstopper Readathon Round 1. Round 1 of the Heartstopper Readathon, aka the character builder or character profile round, is in February, so just a few days. And I'm super excited. It's my first time hosting a readathon, and also my first time filming a sit-down TBR video. Weird. So the other day I sat down and I looked through all the prompts and finagled some things a little bit so that I have a total of 9 books that cover every single one of the prompts. I told you it was possible. Let's go through what I'm going to read next month. And the only reason any of these would change is if my library holds do not come in on time. The physical books, these ones that I'm holding right now, these are definitely going to be read. And then let's hope all my holds come in. We're going to go by book instead of by character, because if we go by character, it's going to be very confusing because they're all over the place. It's not like I have one book per character or something like that. That was a little preview. I just put things where they seemed to fit, and then once I got stuck, I would rearrange things because some books were open to like 5 prompts, and so they could move around, whereas some only apply to very specific prompts. So let's jump straight into it with the first book, which I put at the bottom of the stack, which is Amberlow by Lara, I'm so sorry, Elena Donnelly. The back says very little. Literally, the synopsis is 1 sentence, so all I know is that it says, meet a smuggler, a dancer, and a spy during a decadent era just before a political coup is about to set the city on fire. Any way that I knew to fit these into the prompts was by looking it up on Goodreads. Thank you, Goodreads. The first prompt I'll be using this book for is the leaf prompt in the middle of the bingo board, which is to read a book with LGBTQIA+ representation. Goodreads says that there are LGBTQIA+ characters in this. I think it might be sapphic, but do not quote me on that because I looked this up like maybe weeks ago at this point, but I know that it fits the prompt and that's what matters. Next, I'm using it for Alad's prompt of Pink Hair, a book that had a new look. So this has a totally different cover. Again, thank you Goodreads for telling me that. And then finally, I'm using it for Tara's prompt of Sheet Music, a book that features music. It says it features a dancer, so I thought there would be music in there somewhere. And that's literally why I picked it for this. So the fact that there's a dancer is enough. You dance to music, I'm counting it. The next book I want to talk to you about is Anne's House of Dreams by L.M. Montgomery. This is the 5th book in the Anne of Green Gables series, which I just adore, and I've been wanting to get to this particular volume for a couple months, ever since the October round of Squash That series finished. The first prompt that I'm using this for is Charlie's prompt of Converse, read a timeless classic. I think this series is a timeless classic. It lives in my heart and my head rent-free, so Converse it is. Next, I'm using it for Elle's prompt of Apple Juice, read a comfort read. Anne of Green Gables, this series as a whole is so comforting. The writing goes a bit slower, but that's just because of the lush descriptions. It just makes me feel like I'm sitting in the sunshine. So it's a comfort read for real, for real. And then finally, for Tori's prompt of Haircut, read a sequel that is shorter than the first book in the series. This is shorter in page count than the first book, so hooray. That prompt was actually pretty hard to find, and I think that's the reason that I originally put this on the TBR and then I slotted it into different places where it fit as well. The next book is one of my library holds, and that is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. The main reason I'm using this, aside from the fact that I wanted to get around to it soon and I keep saying deliver later on my hold and I'm tired of doing that, is for Charlie's prompt of Drumsticks, a book that made a crash. When I was thinking of books that made a crash last year, this is the one that came to mind. I was like, everybody loved this book. Harris even read this book. This was the book Harris read last year. So it made a crash in a big way. I'm also using it for Elle's prompt of Paints, a book that features art, because Jeanette McCurdy is an actor. She talks about her acting experiences in this. That's art. And finally, I'm using it for Tara's prompt of Instagram, read a book that is popular on Bookstagram, because there is not a single corner of the internet where this book has not been popular in the last year. And I did find some Bookstagram posts featuring this book, just to be sure it was like Bookstagram specific too. I promise it is. Next, I'm going to talk about The Worthing Saga by Orson Scott Card, which is longer than I thought it was, but that's fine. First, I'm using this for Charlie's prompt of Dimples, a book that makes a dent in your TBR. This is one of my owned TBR books, so it will make a dent, especially since it's a little longer than I thought it was going to be. Not much, it's like not that long, but 400 pages, which is longer than my average read, I would say. So it definitely makes a dent. Also, I've been wanting to get around to this one for like a while now. Then I'm reading it for Nick's prompt of Vans, a book that has been around the block. This is true in a couple of ways. So the original copyright is 1978. So it's been a book for like a while now. Also, this is a used copy. It's from the used bookstore. So this physical copy has been around the block. Haha. Also, I think this might be the only book that is both a Nick and Charlie prompt. So, oh, and it has blue and red, like the smocks for sports day. OMG, so cute. Not planned at all. And then finally, for Tori's prompt of Diet Lemonade, a genre or trope that you cannot get enough of. It's a sci-fi book. I cannot get enough of sci-fi. I want to read sci-fi everything right now. Ebooks, audiobooks, physical books, and it's presenting a problem because then there's too much sci-fi at once, but I just want to read them all at once, so sci-fi it is. This next one is one that really might not happen, and that would be upsetting because it's the perfect book to fit these 3 prompts, and that is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. The first prompt that I'm using this for is Nick's prompt of Rugby Ball, a book that features sports. It features sports, I believe, football, and also ballet. I could be incredibly wrong, but sports. And then I'm using it for 2 different Darcy prompts, the first one of which is the tie-dye prompt, a book that has 3 or more colors on the cover. This one counts. It has green, pink, white, black. That might be it, but that's 3 or more. And then the Darcy prompt of Monster Munch, a book that features friendship because it's a friends to lovers trope. So that would be hard to replace if the loan doesn't come in. So please, library gods, give me the book. Followed swiftly by another romance book, The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I'm using this for Nick's prompt of Bubblegum Milkshake, a book that is someone else's favorite. This I know is one of Becca's favorite books from Becca and the Books. Also, my sister loved this book. Next, I'm using it for Tao's prompt of film poster and adaptation. There was, I believe, a movie adaptation of this made, so. And then for Tori's prompt of Tumblr blog, a book published between 2010 and 2019. This was published in 2016, so coming in clutch. I'm sorry for whatever that sound was. I don't know where it was coming from. Next, A Complicated Love Story Set in Space by Sean David Hutchinson. I'm so excited to read this book. I have no idea what it's about. I haven't been saying what any of these are about. Is it obvious that I don't make TBR videos ever? Space, and a school dance, and a bad day, and falling in love. And it's set aboard a ship called the Curiosity. I'm so excited for this one. First, I'm using this for Tao's prompt of Beanie, Top of the TBR. I've been wanting to read this book since the second I got it, and I haven't made time for it for some reason. So tippy tip top of my TBR, absolutely. Then a second Tao prompt, Shoe Potato, a book that has an illustration on the cover. It's a fully illustrated cover, but like not with people, instead with popcorn and a little planet and a galaxy. It's cute. And then for Alad's prompt of Ladybird, a book that you spotted in the wild. I haven't seen this a single time online, not once, even since picking it up. I first saw this in a queer independent bookstore, and then later I got a book certificate, like a gift card to a different local independent bookstore, and I only like to pay full price for queer books or books with epic representation of some kind, so I snagged it then. But the first time I ever saw it was at a queer independent bookstore, and I fell in love, and I haven't even read it. So I'm trying to lower my expectations, but I'm hoping for good things. Then I'll be reading You Never Forget Your First by Alexis Coe, which is a biography of George Washington. Alexis Coe is a presidential biographer, but she likes to put a little twist on things and show you things that you never really knew about these people, which is why first I'm using it for Elle's prompt of Glasses. Read a book that gives you a new perspective. Oh, also pertinent to mention, I really wanted to fill this in with some of the prompts because it's the Magic Treehouse read-along nonfiction book of the month. So next I'm reading it for Alad's prompt of Microphone, read an audiobook, because the only copies my libraries, both of them, they only have the audiobook. That's all they have. So audiobook it is. And then finally for Darcy's prompt of Trumpet, a book less than 300 pages. I don't know why 224 is sticking in my head. That's probably incredibly wrong, but I know that it's less than 300 pages, so And finally, my odd one out 9th book that's only covering a singular prompt is After Anna by Alex Lake, and it is handling the Tara prompt of Hair Clip, a book you've been holding back from reading. This, like A Complicated Love Story Set in Space, was one of the books that when I got it, I wanted to read it immediately. Usually when I get books because they look interesting and I know I'll definitely want to read them at some point. But this I wanted to read immediately. Every time I look at it, I want to read it. Why have I not read it? Luckily, since this prompt exists, I did have an option for it. So this is going on it, and it's about a girl who goes missing and then she comes back and she has no memory of where she's been. So those are the 9 books I'm hoping to read in the month of February. I'll probably be reading some more books, but if you want to hear my thoughts on all of these books, then stay tuned for my weekly reading vlogs for February. It's going to be a really, really fun time with the readathon. Join us if you haven't already. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below. Do you have your TBR set for the readathon or for the month of February? If so, what are you reading? And subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!